It is time for us to get some history into your ears right now. And of course, we do that with History Out There and Harold Peacock, who today is taking us to the racecourse. Good morning, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Damo. It's a Melbourne Cup special for you, looking at Queensland's first Doyen of racing.
Oh, and apparently he was from Toowoomba.
Yes, he was. He was Mr. John Finnie. He was the father of the Queensland turf, the Doyen of racing in Queensland, and the Squire of Drayton. So absolutely a Toowoomba man.
Oh.
Now, Finnie was born in Scotland in 1839, died at his home in Drayton in 1921, aged 82, and in between times created a national legacy that I think should be more widely known.
Right.
Now, when Finnie first arrived in Queensland as a youngster, he started work as a shepherd at Pilton Station near Allara. He went to Drayton and started a carrying business between there and Ipswich. This is before the train, so there's plenty of business.
Yeah.
And after some time, he made enough money to acquire land at Rosevale. He engaged in mixed farming, including dairying, and he produced Finnie's brand of butter. It was quite well known at the time. He got into breeding and stock raising and became noted as a breeder of horses, both drafts and a bloodstock. And his Rosevale stud was born, becoming famous throughout Australia. Then, as a breeder and owner of racehorses, Finnie became extremely well known both across Queensland and the southern states, where over half a century of racing, his silks of yellow jacket and black cap were carried by literally hundreds of winners. Now, Damo, I know you're a big race goer, and you'd know Megaphone, the horse. Now, Megaphone was the best horse of hundreds that Finnie bred, and was the marvel horse of his day. Megaphone started 18 times as a 2-year-old, which is unusual, and I believe he still holds a record that will never be broken. 6 times across 3 states, including 4 times in Queensland and once each in Randwick and Flemington down south, Megaphone raced in 2 races on the same day, always against the best horses in the state, and he won 5 of those daily doubles and covered himself in glory in the 6th, when only beaten by the legendary Carbine by less than a length in record time. In fact, Megaphone's so impressed that he was bought by the owner of Carbine and ran him to a head in the AJC Craven Plate in 1891. And during his career, Megaphone won in all distances, from 5 furlongs to 3 miles. But Finnie, back to our John Finnie, he didn't make his name with just one wonder horse, because his horses won races in every state in Australia. As far back as 1877, Finnie's name first appeared as the winner of a big-time race, the QTC Morton Handicap with Nemo. Finnie won the same race 19 years later in 1896 with Newbold, which was the stallion that ultimately put Finnie's stud on the map. Now, Finnie won the Brisbane Cup first with Sydney in 1876 and later with Lurline in 1891 and with Black Paint in 1911. The St. Ledger won with Medusa, the Stradbroke Handicap with Sweetheart and Gold Tie. He won the Queensland Cup with My Love in 1885, the Sandgate Handicap twice in succession with Sydney in 1879 and 1880, and later with Calmere in 1898. In 1882, Goldfinder, which won 26 races out of 31 starts, won in the Queensland Derby, and in 1886 he won the Hopeful Stakes with Rose. And the list goes on. I could keep going. If you had a breeder and horse owner like this today, well, that's all you'd be talking about. John Finnie was a legend of his day. Another horse he had was Ben Bolt, that won Finnie the Caulfield Cup in 1886.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, the Queensland horse was leased to a Victorian who in 1888 implicated him in a £4,000 or $4 million fleecing of Queensland punters in a lead-up to the Melbourne Cup that year. And he was run dead prior to the Cup to boost his odds to 101, but finished 14th. And that's something that Finnie himself would never do. You see, what made Finnie unique in the racing game was that he was universally respected for his frankness and integrity, so much so that he was generally known as Honest John. And that wasn't a joke. He was just honest through and through. And Finnie was not a betting man either. He ran his horses for the honour and glory of winning the prize, which is something I think, to be admired today. He was in it for the horses and the prize. So John Finnie, the Doyen of racing in Queensland, I think can teach us something today on Melbourne Cup Day, that you can have fun and enjoy the horses and not necessarily have to drink and gamble. Honest John Finnie had it nailed, and he was the greatest racing man of his day.
There you go. And it all happened in Toowoomba.
That's right. There at Drayton, and that was the centre of a breeding empire that spread throughout Australia, and the bloodlines are still alive today.
Fantastic, mate. Now, of course, we can read this story, can't we?
Absolutely. It'll be there on Friday on my website, historyouthere.com. But, you're a social man. You're on all the internet social media. You can find History Out There almost everywhere.
There you go. And you can also have a look at our Facebook page. There's a little picture. Is that the actual horse in the picture?
Absolutely it is. That's actually Ben Bolt, the Caulfield Cup winner of 1886.
There you go. So you can have a look at it on our Facebook page and then go to historyouthere.com and read the story. And, mate, thank you so much for that. We'll look forward to chatting again next week.
Happy Melbourne Cup Day.
And the same to you, mate. There we go. History Out There with Harold Peacock. Jump onto the website, historyouthere.com.